Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am reviewing a book and I am reviewing A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Brigid Kemmerer, which I for some reason can never pronounce. I am sorry. This one is being released on the 7th of January, so very soon, the first release date of the new year of 2020. And I got an arc from this from my friend Justine because she is kind to me. This is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I was gonna say A Curse So Dark and Broken because my head is confused of these titles. And it's the second book in the Cursebreaker trilogy. So I'm not gonna spoil this book, but I will of course talk a bit about the first book since like it led into this one. And why is this behind my face? Sorry. This one follows the perspective of Guardsman Grey, or the previous Guardsman of Prince Ran, who was a big character in the first book, and we got a lot of reveals surrounding his character at the end of the first book and going into this one. We also follow the perspective of Leah Mara, who is the daughter of Caris Luran, who was the one who wanted to invade Amberfall in the first book, and she is not the heir to the throne, but she's the eldest daughter and is a princess, or actually she's technically not a princess anymore, but yeah, she's related to the queen. And they are on their way to Amberfall to try to strike an alliance with Prince Ran, which for me is very strange considering the fact that they invaded a country in the first book, so I don't really know what they were thinking there. But yeah, Grey is currently in hiding because he doesn't want Ran to find him for reasons because of, you know, knowing who the heir is and etc. I don't know how much I'm supposed to say, because if you read the first book you know what I'm talking about, and I feel like I don't want this to be too spoilery, but like again, warnings that like I will probably give things a bit away from the first book because this is the sequel. Okay, so that is the general plot and how it starts out. It is a pretty thick book, like the first one, like 500 pages long, so there's a lot of room for things to happen. And I don't know how to really articulate my thoughts because it's very spoilery, but I didn't like this as much as the first one. I love the first one because it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's not just because it was a story I already knew, but because I liked the twist on it. I really liked Harper as a character. And here we don't follow her. She is present in the book, but she's not like the main character anymore. And I felt like as we started to care for her so much from the first book, it was really weird to just like put her aside, follow other characters. But that's fine, like I have read books where this has happened before and I started to care for the new characters, and that's okay. We already cared and knew Grey, so that is fine. And this new character, Leah Mara, it's okay that they wanted to introduce her, but what did she give to the story? That is what I'm asking myself when I read the book, because in the first book we had a perspective of Prince Ran and Harper, and they were kind of on two different sides of the story. We had like Ran and everything that happened to him and the curse that like Harper didn't know about and everything he had gone through, so like he had his own thing happening to him, and like Harper was like us coming from another world and learning about the world, so we needed like a person for everything to be confusing and explain things to. They were two different sides, and like yes, they met and blah blah blah. But here Caris, I don't keep forgetting her name. No, that's her mother, Leah Mara, and Grey are like together almost. Like after a while they come together and like they're like on the same page of everything, like they agree with everything and they like see the same sides of almost everything instantly. At least that's how I felt it. So it didn't feel like we got two different sides of a story, we just got two different perspectives of the same story, and I felt like that was just unnecessary. It didn't give anything to the story to follow these two characters, except that she was a new character, she was not Harper. And I felt almost it would be more interesting to follow the things happening with Harper and Ran because they are not with them, see what was actually happening there, because that is what the first book was about and this is a sequel, so we of course want to know what's gonna happen to these characters we saw in the first book, but we go away from them and we don't see anything from them. We just like follow new characters for, I don't know, I guess it's gonna all come together in the third book, but it just felt very dislocated, and like since we're not following them anymore, it just feels like a new story, but like not a new story I'm convinced we will care for because we already started caring for this other story. I do realize that Ran and Harper had their not exactly happy ending, but their story was kind of over, and I feel like it is interesting in approach to follow new characters to give like more new spark to a story, but these characters just was not enough. I liked Gray a lot in the first book, and I liked him here as well, but he does some very questionable things. He has this one perspective of everything, and that's what drives his actions in this book. And then throughout the story this changes, I would say, but it changes too overtly for me that it's convincing. I feel like he had this perspective and then suddenly he had changed his mind about it, and I don't see why. I don't understand why, actually. And in the end he is on this other side of things, and I'm still questioning why he ended up there, and I'm not convinced. And I didn't like how his action didn't have any reason behind them. He was just doing it suddenly, and I was just like, okay. So the character development just didn't work for me at all. Also, Liamara, I feel like I guess had character development, but I feel like also she's the same person in the beginning of the book. By the end of the book, she just realized which kind of person she was. So there was like, I just felt like there was no need for her. It's not like I didn't like her, I just didn't feel like she added anything to the story. Also, like, they spend like half of the time in this book being in the forest so they can fall in love, and that was also very boring and uninteresting, just because it just like they had this one moment by the campfire, and then after that they were in love and couldn't keep their hands off each other, or they could, but like, you know my expression of speaking. And I was just not convinced that they like were it for each other just like suddenly. Like, I know they had been with each other for a while at that point, but I was not convinced. And I just felt like in the first book I expected, you know, the Beauty and the Beast to fall in love at once or stuff, but they took a long while to get there, and it was convincing when they started to like each other, but here was totally opposite, and I was just like, what is going on? And I was also very disappointed. The romance just gave nothing to me. And also, adding more thoughts to that, since we don't follow Harper and Rand's perspectives anymore, we just see one side of their actions. And Rand does some very questionable things here, and this is the one action that also changes Gray's perspective of him, and I get that because it was a bad thing to do. But at the same time, we just see Harper just like, I wouldn't exactly say saying it was okay, but we just see her still be with him, and I needed more reason for her to do that, because for me I would be like, bye, but no, she was still there with him. And I just feel like we didn't get enough of why and things behind that, because we don't follow them anymore, but we follow them in the first book. So of course I'm sitting here curious what the heck is going on with them, but we don't get any answers for that. That is my thoughts and reflections upon this book, and it's like almost a month since I read it now, and I'm still sitting with the same questionable thoughts I had, and I was very frustrated for how things changed and how we didn't get answers and the right perspective of things, I guess. And then the last chapter we got this new plot twist, and that made me so more annoyed of the whole story. Like, at this point I liked how they wrapped up things in Liamara's country, because there were a lot of things going on there, and they wrapped up things there really nicely, and I was just like, fine, I'm on board with this. Now I like it much more than like I had previously in the book. But then the last chapter came, and I just wanted to fling the book out the window because it made me so annoyed. It didn't make any sense. I'm not gonna spoil it, but here Gray has come to this point where I just don't understand his character anymore, and he has made this choice, and I don't get why would he do that? And I'm just still questioning why he absolutely had to do what he decided to do there. If you read the book, or when you read it, you know what I'm talking about, and I just don't get why he absolutely have to do that one thing, because there was no one pushing him anymore, and he just had come to this point where he just decided that he was the better. And I don't get it. Why is he the better, except for that one wrong thing Rand did? Why is he the better person for this? And also, like, in the same chapter we get this reveal going on with Rand this whole time apparently, which is, I don't know if it's gonna explain the things going on with him or whatever. And like, it's fine that that one thing was revealed, but his reasoning behind it was very bothersome to me, because he basically admits that he would do anything for Harper. I'm not gonna spoil exactly what, but before he has always cared more about his people than anything else, and now suddenly he would do anything for Harper, including maybe, I wouldn't say sacrifices people, but he put her above everything suddenly. And I just felt like that was weird, because that contradicts how he was in the first book, I feel like. But maybe I have just misunderstood something between the lines. But that also annoyed me, because for me, it doesn't make sense for his character. There's like a very easy way for him to solve his problems, what he's doing for Harper right now, and he's just not seeing it. And I am like, why? I know like sometimes the reader thinks that they know better, and then the author comes with some explanation for why it can't be, but I just feel like he is just getting out of proportion for no reason at all to create drama for the series. And again, I was not on board for that. So overall, I just feel like I was disappointed with this. Okay, I really liked going with the story and see how it goes, but the direction it went in was just so, didn't have the grounds that I wanted to. As I liked the first book, everything here, it didn't have what I liked about it, but I still like enjoy the world, and I do like Grey, for example, but I just didn't like where his character went, just because I didn't feel the reasoning was there. It's not like I hated it. I had enjoyment in it, and I, as I said, wanted to see where things went, and I was very interested in seeing how much more of a role, for example, Harper's brother had, Jacob, is that his name, and his boyfriend, and they were much more here, and they grew into their own characters. And if the next book follows this pattern and follows different perspectives, I believe maybe he will be the next perspective in the next book, but also it might just follow Ren and Grey and Harper and the Amaro are the same character. Since this is the last book, they may just take all 4 perspectives in one. I don't know, I haven't seen anything about it yet, since it's not releasing. I'm guessing until 2021 or something. I know it seemed like I just complained this whole video, but I did enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I liked the first book. I gave the first book like 5 stars, and I'm giving this 3 stars, so it's like a downgrade, and it disappointed me, and I am sad I was disappointed, because I just felt like the story just went nah. And it felt also very much like a middle book to just build up to the 3rd book, and I don't like middle books that much, but blah 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 blah. I hope I articulated myself a bit okay in this one. I haven't filmed a video in like a month because of Vlogmas, so I'm hoping this sounds okay, and I'm hoping that you got what I wanted to say. I am ending this video now. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. This book is, as I said, being released on the 7th of January. I was about to say September, and you will see me soon in a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!